everybody.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hey.
We're a little bit late. Sorry for being
Welcome.
late.
Sorry, everybody.
Those queues at Costco are so long these days.
No,
I understand.
What are you doing up?
I have
All I
a
wanted
lot-
was candy.
So, welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome to the first Sid City Social Club meeting of 2022 for Tuesday, January 4th. Over to Sid.
Happy New Year, everybody, and happy holidays, wherever you are, whatever you may be celebrating, or hopefully something. Figure out something to celebrate during this time. I had a lovely Christmas, and with my guys, my wife's. I nearly said my mother. Such a Freudian slip. That with my wife's. It is a Freudian slip. With her family, my mother-in-law and. I guess aunt-in-law, is there an aunt-in-law? I don't know if that's a thing. Anyway, so yeah, and then we had a terrific New Year with same people, and they left early, and then Sean and I just hung out and watched the ball drop and stuff like that. And I am gonna get talking to people straight away because I know I always run over, and I don't want to miss people out today.
Okay, let's go over to Christie Zizo.
Hello, I'm starting the timer now.
Hello, good to see you.
Oh my goodness, it's been a long time.
It has. How are you?
I had so much I wanted to ask you about Thailand and Australia in terms of food.
I'll happily answer.
Did you get a chance? What were your favorite wines that you wanted to try when you were in Australia and Thailand? I've been obsessed with wine the last couple of years.
Oh.
Yes. I'm trying to expand my palate. I've long been a white wine drinker.
Yeah.
Tried to figure out why I didn't like reds. I didn't like the way they coated my mouth. And of course, if it was dry, it was like drinking sand.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I've been studying that. And so I'm curious to know what you...
Well, I'm a bit like you. I go through, I think everybody probably does a bit. I go through phases. I go through phases of absolutely just having something else, like beer. Sometimes I'll get into the habit of doing that in the summer. And then at the end of summer, I'll just stick with it sometimes. But these days I'm into wine and drink a lot of white wine like you did. Partly because I can't find cheap red wine that's really delicious. I can find cheap white wine, weirdly, that's so much better. And I don't know why that is, because back in the day, when I was younger, cheap white wine was the worst. It just was rocket fuel. Yes. And everybody drank cheap red wine because you could palate it. I didn't have a whole bunch of wines in Thailand, has to be said. But I tried a fair amount of wines in Australia. And there's a craze over there for natural wine right now. I don't know if you found that yet. I found a couple of bottles in Los Angeles.
It's not really big in Orlando. I've learned that distributors tend to focus on the big cities in America. Yeah. So you hear about a lot of great wines of the world, and then you have to really hunt for them in America. So I've been looking for natural wines, but I don't think they've come down to Orlando yet.
They are super cool. I mean, the ones I tried, these were ones that restaurants had vetted, because I didn't really go out and buy wines except for a couple of white wines that I kept in the fridge for after work. They were pretty zingy, amazing. They reminded me of when I was a kid, my parents would go abroad and I'd go along with them, and they'd get first press wine, fresh wine that was just pressed that month on the table. And they'd always ask me if I tried it, and I always go, yuck. But there was a kind of taste of fruit in there. I kind of noticed it. And from memory, I really liked that flavor, and it was really, really zingy, really interesting, and not like, but quite a rosé look to it, not quite deep red, kind of a bit pinker. But those are the wines that I think are going to become huge. That's the next big wave amongst the kind of yuppie crowd. Mainly because wine is, when I first went to Los Angeles, and not when I first went to Los Angeles, I just normal, but after about 3 or 4 years of doing the show, I became quite wealthy by my standards, and I just got into wine. It's a rich person's pursuit, I have to say, because you look at the wine things and you check out what the big vintages are, and all those vintages from the Appellation in Bordeaux are going to be a minimum of $100 a bottle. Certainly the Premier Cru and Deuxième and all those guys. I would buy. I just had great fun because I had enough money to do it. Going down to this wine store in Los Angeles called 2020, if I remember correctly, and it was kind of under the freeway. It's a little box, and they just had wine all over the place, on the floor, in boxes, everywhere. And whatever price you saw on the bottle is what you paid. And some of those bottles he priced about 15 years ago because they'd just been sitting around. So you got really good deals.
Yeah.
So it was kind of fun, like an Aladdin's cave of wine. And I found like a 1929, which is when my stepfather was born, bottle of something. And I bought that as a present for my stepfather. I bought a case of something that at the time cost about $100. But it was incredibly fancy. I would come back from work, and if Nana wasn't working with me, and she'd open the door, greeting me with a glass of $200 bottle wine, and I'd be like, "Well, I guess it's for drinking. I guess it's for drinking." And that's the conundrum I have. So the more you get into it, the more delicious the wine is, the less likely you are to drink it because you're not allowed. It's just worth too much money.
Right.
What do you find about? Because that was where I went. Okay, I'm not doing wine anymore.
Gewürztraminer is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Which I said that I went into like one of the fancier wine stores in Orlando, and they asked me, and I said, yeah, it's Gewürztraminer, and he went, oh. I said, yeah, you know everything about me now, don't you? He's like, yeah. It's not an easy grape to grow. And hunting. I actually almost dropped $100. The first time I've ever thought about dropping $100 on a bottle. It was a Alsatian Grand Cru, and I almost did it, and I didn't. I bought 2 cheaper bottles of something else because, again, I'm trying to, focus on expanding my palate. So, Riojas tend to be what I'm drinking right now.
I like Rioja. The white Rioja is really nice.
Yeah.
The $100 a bottle thing is a really good idea on New Year's Eve. That's like your once a year bottle of like, I'm just going to have, get a little thing of caviar that costs way too much money if you like caviar, and a little bit of smoked salmon. Do everything that's obscene and do it one night a year on a New Year's Eve. That's been my tradition. We always buy the most food that we'd never eat any other time of year because it's just too expensive. And the most delicious bottle of wine we could possibly find in this area. In Western Massachusetts, not huge wine snob territory. So you got to go quite a long way.
Turned out I had this bottle for 8 years. Like I was going through my wine case and was like, ooh. And I saved it because I got a new job last year in November, and I saved it for my first day. And I was like, yep, I'm opening this is mine. I'm opening it on something special. And, it was so good. I had it with Thai food, and it was perfect.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Well, I highly recommend anybody trying that one of those Rieslings or the Gewürztraminer or even Eiswein, which they love up in Canada. They are just such a delicate balance of sweet and sour, and they go so well with pre-dinner stuff. Mm-hmm. And when they're super chilled, and you often find that they've got the winemaker's name and the wine, and the winemakers are nearly as famous as the wine itself, and they're normally Dr. something. Mm-hmm. So it's like Dr. this, or because I think winemakers in Germany, when you get to a certain status, you become a doctor. I'd love that. That's my guess, because I just don't believe there are that many retired medical personnel making wine in Germany. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty great. That's fantastic. So what's your new job? Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm curious. Are you enjoying it? Because from our first, is it a good fun job?
I switched to another station. I just got up one night, 1 a.m., just woke up and said, you know what, it's time to go. Started looking for jobs. And then the next day, one of my friends at one of the other stations texted me. He's like, I got a job opening. Come. Yeah, sure. Sure, we'll see what happens. This is nothing else. I haven't interviewed for a job in 18 years, so I might as well give it a shot.
Jeez.
And that was it. I've been there 6 weeks. I've done 7 enterprise stories, which I've been doing everything from, I did an inflation story, just my usual, what the heck is going on? This is how it works. I'm going to talk to a bunch of experts and tell you what's happening kind of stories.
Yeah.
And so far they like what I do. So I'm going to keep
great.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Tell you, that was time.
We can spend a little bit longer. That's fine. We haven't spoken for years, for months and months and months. How is your family? How is everybody?
Well, man, like I said, it's been an interesting few months. My brother did get married, so
Good.
Both my brothers are married now, which is interesting because I'm not married. So I'm like, whatever. My dad was in the hospital. It's interesting. When Colin first went into the hospital,
yeah,
with his gallstones, my dad that same day was supposed to be discharged because he had his gallbladder removed. So we were having Colin and I were having interesting gallbladder discussions for a while.
I think interesting gallbladder discussions are just not, we just haven't had enough of them in this club. They're so fascinating, if you get the right one.
And of course, the other part of my family is all depressed right now because she's in the cone of shame. My dog, Lulu, had her cranial cruciate ligament surgery on her leg. She had it just yesterday. I got her back today, and she's,
sorry for herself. She's feeling sorry for herself. Oh, sweetheart. Yeah.
She's
the humiliation of having to wear a cone. It's just the worst.
I've taken up way too much time. I started, very interesting. It's the 29th anniversary of DS9 this week. And it's been 29 years since I played the violin. And I picked up the violin in April. And I've been playing since April. That's partially due to Sid City, because as I had said before, I saw all these people with all these amazing skills, and I felt like I had nothing to contribute creatively. But
that's fantastic. That's wonderful. Well, next time, if you could just whip up the kind of Mendelssohn violin concerto, Tchaikovsky will be fine. Berg, I don't really mind.
Yeah. No.
That's fantastic. That really is. It's like forgetting a language when you stop an instrument. And I'm really glad you picked it up again. Do you still remember your scale?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then that's what you need to do to get that finger working. I played a really squeaky violin when I was a kid. And I played it for a Morris dancing group. And so we went around the place. We were called the Mushroom Men. We would go from pub to pub to pub and get paid in crisps and pickled onions and little cubes of cheese, which they used to have in pubs in those days. And I would screech my way through whatever song it was while the other kids danced. It's great. That's fantastic.
So it was great talking to you, and I will yield the balance of my time.
Thank you. You may yield the balance of your time to the Honourable whomever. Thanks, Christie.
Nice seeing you.
Thanks, Christy. We've got another Christine.
A little close to Christie, but not quite. I have a time or two.
Has Mel said something? She has, hasn't she? Will you guys please police yourself, because Sid is hopeless. Okay, I get it. Now, twice, if that's two people with timers, I get what's going on here. It's lovely to see you, Christine.
Lovely to see you too, Sid. Been a long time.
It has. Do you have a cool holiday period? Do you have a nice New Year? Or I don't know if that New Year is a good thing. There's too much pressure on New Year.
Christmas was great. I was with my dad's side of the family in Massachusetts. No, Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Connecticut. In Connecticut. I always get confused. They're not they're not that far away from us. We're all on the same side of, issues. So it's a very nice, chill family time. I like them a lot. They seem to like having us around, and they make us tons of food. So it was wonderful.
That's lovely. And did you get anything you like? I got a pizza oven. That's quite a huge thing. I got it's not brick, but it's a pizza oven, and I've got a picture of it somewhere. But it's a drawing of it, because that's what I got. The pizza oven didn't arrive. It's kind of quite portable. So now I'm expected to make tons of delicious crusty pizzas for everybody.
So it's like an easy bake. It's not an easy bake pizza oven.
Yeah, it's portable-ish. And it's called, can you read that?
Unikaru 16.
That is the pizza oven I was got. And you can see it's sort of not heavyweight. It's sort of vaguely portable. It's only a kind of, it's not even a proper drawing, but there it is, and it's got huge reviews apparently from Wired. Shana likes to research the hell out of anything we buy. I'm like, Shana, it's just a pencil. Who cares?
Well, you got to know if it's a great pencil.
Yeah, exactly. What do you like? What's your favorite kind of gift? Are you a book lover?
My favorite gifts were the video games, but the ones that I got from my family members, they're always giving me like sweaters and slippers and blankets and stuff to stay warm because I'm like chronically cold at their house. They keep it very, very cold. They keep it like 64 degrees and lower.
That's too cold.
That's too cold. I'm wrapped up in a blanket right now, and it's not 64 degrees in the house. But
no, 64 is too cold.
I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
I think it's an ancient form of frugality.
I guess. It must be. I think what it also is when they cook, the kitchen gets very hot. And so then the house gets hot.
Well, I would suggest leaving a plastic bag with your name on it, if that's permitted, with your favorite really warm things in it that you got for Christmas this year. There. So you don't get the same presents again next year, and you may get a game, which is a lot more fun. And you always know you're going to be warm there.
I am pretty taken care of on the games, although we can't seem to get a PS5. I know you have an Xbox, so you managed to get the new Xbox.
I do. We got an Xbox S, which came in just the nick of time because I needed to take it with me to Australia because it just fits in your luggage really neatly. I love that about that thing. And PS5 I'm thinking about that. I'm not sure. I've never had a PS, so I'm toying with it because they have VR. Is that one of the things you like about it?
No, I have no concept of the VR stuff.
Final Fantasy? Is that what?
Yeah, actually, I would get probably not the online one, but like the 16, the one that they're developing right now, I would probably go for that.
Yeah.
And all those like Japanese RPGs, those are the kinds of things that I like to do. So that's why I want the PlayStation.
I love the Final Fantasy series when I played it many, many years ago. I thought it was great fun.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. What's your favorite archetype?
That's a good question.
I think it says a lot about someone.
I tend to want to avoid the magic classes because I'm stingy with the magic points. So I tend to want to.
The archery classes, those sort of projectile type. I
usually like to stick with like the classic knight classes because I'm like, okay, I know if I give them a sword and a shield, they'll be able to survive and the boss isn't going to one-shot them.
You are a natural born tank.
Apparently. I'm not comfortable unless my HP is full, it seems.
Well, if you're soloing, I guess that's absolutely imperative. That's really important. I like to play the multiplayer stuff, despite the fact that people say horrible things and you occasionally come up against a really gnarly person. And I very rarely find I do, to be honest. When you just randomly meet strangers, most of the time we don't talk, but sometimes when you have to be on cans to actually communicate about some kind of coordinated thing, you can get pretty creepy people. I quite like being, which is, I think it's worse for particularly women, if you don't mind me saying.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
There's always those lines. It's like, oh my God, a woman. You're like, oh no.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. I have not been on a game where I've had to actually be on mic with somebody in a long, long time. And that's probably the reason why I'm just like, I don't even want to mess with that. I know what's going to happen. I know that there are going to be weirdos who are going to make a big deal. And I'm just like, dude, I'm just here to play the game, man.
Yeah. I have to say there are more and more, what I'm assuming more and more women playing, which is really good, really encouraging. Yeah. I like the healer classes. So I do like the magic classes, but they're usually healer tanks. They're not just healers. They usually can look after themselves, but I like to just sort of keep that all going so that people can just swish away with their swords with gay abandon while I just make sure they're
I know, I always feel like if I were doing a healer class, I feel like I would get, antsy. I'd want to get in there.
I like the pressure. What are you up to? What's going on? Because where are you in your life at the moment? I can't remember where you were last time we talked.
Still in upstate New York, which is not where I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
Been trying desperately to move back to Portland, Oregon, and it just hasn't worked out yet. I'm sort of taking things one day at a time. I'm definitely not where I thought I was going to be, not where I thought I was going to be in life, but I'm just trying to get through it. I was even going to go on the cruise, and I gather based on what you were saying last time, you're probably not going to go on the cruise anymore either. So
not this year. Not this year. I said to them, let's try again next year.
I definitely want to try again too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Just a question of getting it right, getting the timing right, and so that everyone's on vacation, everyone should be relaxed and not thinking about that. We might think about it a little bit, the washing hands and stuff is a really good progression from where we were 2 years ago. So people are actually pretty hygienic now. You are in the same kind of place as my son. Really young, beginning a new adventure in terms of how you're going to negotiate with this big, crazy world out there and find a career and all those annoying questions, but maybe find something you love that happens to pay you money. Those first 2 or 3 years of exploration, just post-college or even the last year of college, or that area, those early years have been totally robbed from you because you've been told to just go to your room. And that's such a sad thing. And I feel terrible for Django because he's in the same boat. And a lot of what he thought he might be doing or wanted to do is just not happening. It's not going to work out. And certainly so he's for retreating more and more into himself and becoming much more, I guess, creative. So he's doing things like trying to teach himself how to write music and do things that he can do alone. But it's a shame. It's a darn shame.
So here's what I've been doing to pass the time, along with Bobby, who you may remember, came and talked to you about woodworking and some other things.
Yeah.
Bobby and I actually started streaming on Twitch together.
Ooh.
We set up a channel where she will play something usually for an hour, and then I will play something for another hour because she doesn't have as much gaming stamina as I do. So she needs me to take over after about an hour or so. And kind of going back to what you said about women streaming and women being on game. We've actually thankfully found the people who come to our streams are pretty well behaved. We've only ever had to ban one person.
That's great.
And nobody seems to make a big deal about, women, get back in the kitchen or anything like that.
That's such an.
And I mean, Bobby will talk their ears off about technology, so they certainly don't tend to do that to her. Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic. I was thinking of doing that with Colin. It's a kind of joke because it's a sort of, what is it when you get two 50-year-olds trying to figure out how to play a game?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's it. That would be so much fun though. I would watch that for hours.
Experience would that be? What a terrible
oh my God.
experience. But it might be funny for people. So we've been talking about it for ages. We just haven't got round to doing it. What we have to do is download a game on Twitch and then open it and do the first moment, the unpack. That's what we're going to have to do, and then take people through it and learn the controls, and just hopefully people will be rolling out of their seats with laughter because we're so incompetent.
I would love that. Hell, Bobby would love that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's good fun to do that.
And if you and Colin start your Inept Gamers gaming channel,
we'll
be there every day. I tell you what.
Look, Christine, it's been lovely to catch up with you.
You as well. Thank you, Sid.
Thank you. All the best to Bobby too.
Thanks. I'll let her know.
The Inept Gamers channel on Twitch. I like.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna go talk to Molly, the master's graduate.
Congratulations! I don't know if
Thank you.
If they're becoming a master song, but we need to make one up.
Yeah,
you are brilliant, Molly.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've
had a chance to talk. I think the last time was just telling you that I passed my defense. So that was like many, many months ago. But
that was many, many months ago. That's such a wonderful piece of news that you are quite literally brilliant now.
I reserve that for the PhDs, I think.
Okay,
but
well, I think you're on the way. That's PhDs is genius territory. That's another whole thing.
Yeah, I'm out of breath because I just ran downstairs because you were asking about Christmas presents and stuff for whoever the last couple of people, and I'm like, oh, I know what I have to show Sid because I just got for Christmas. Hopefully it'll show up. I can't see my screen, but it is a little Garrick.
It is a little Garrick.
It's one of the old 1996 ones. It's actually the same one that Andy has. And I begged my parents to get. It's the only one on eBay, so I was very happy.
Fantastic! How fantastic is that?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
I need to find a little Julian, but I think those are even harder to find. So I don't know where I'm going to get that.
But yeah, you have to look in trash cans for those ones.
Yeah. I've heard good stories about people finding these sort of things in like consignment stores and just like old. Like you never know where they're going to show up when people get rid of them. So gotta keep your eyes out.
Absolutely. Yeah, they'll be like, oh my God, look at that. Is that someone going through our trash? No, they're just looking for a Julian doll. You inspired me, actually. I was thinking about you because of the bees.
Yeah.
But really about your talk about native planting. I've been spending the last few months just basically doing lots and lots of YouTube rabbit holing. One of the things I got into was biomimicry. Mm-hmm. And and houses that are self-sustaining. I don't think I'm really ready yet to do a completely self-sustaining house because the difficulty of them, which I love the sound of it, by the way, and we'll all have them one day because it'll just be mandatory, but it'll be code, I imagine. But the fact that right now you can't really run a kettle and a microwave at the same time without blowing the transistor. Not a transistor, but you know what I mean. So once they get a little bit more power in those battery packs, I can do that. Because when I cook, I got everything going. Everything's on. Everything in the kitchen is steaming or bubbling or hooting or winking at me. So it's one of those, if it can suit my kitchen life. But the outdoor stuff is fascinating. That is definitely. I'm only dreaming about buying a house right now. I mean, it's one of those daydreams. But it's, I've already laid down the law, minimum of 2 acres, so we can get this sort of stuff done.
Yeah.
And there is an amazing amount of really good native plants in New England.
Absolutely. Yeah. New England as a whole, like there's a lot of native plant nurseries popping up and everything now. Like it's becoming more accessible to actually get native plants in our area and everything. Yeah. So it's really encouraging.
I thought it would be really tough because the season is so brutal. These things have to be hardy to minus 10 degrees. They have to be really, not lots of things can survive below -5. And it's pretty tricky. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, -5. Doesn't matter. Someone will tell me. It's in the
it's so great. I mean, it's we've got thousands and thousands of native plants, and each one of them has those extraordinary, very complex interactions with other animals and other insects, and whether it's birds eating the berries or caterpillars eating the leaves or specialist pollinators and everything. And it's just it's once I've really gotten to delve more into that in my in my work that I've done now, really leaning more into the landscaping gardening side of it. To do anything with insects, you have to learn the plants. So I've gotten so much more experience with that now. And every day I feel like I'm learning 10 new plants that I didn't even know existed before. And it's incredible for me to think that there's so many thousands out there just in my area that I don't even know exist yet. And so it's really exciting. Once you get into plants, it's something that will keep you occupied for the rest of your life, probably.
Absolutely with you. The one thing that I learned, but I'd love your opinion on it, is soil. And the fact that we dig our soil up too much. And we have too many lawns. And lawns are the insect equivalent of deserts. They're dead places for them, where they're easy prey for birds. And there's not much to eat because all the seeds are gone. There's nothing hanging about. So lawns are really uncool. And there are lots of really good alternatives to lawns. I saw someone plant wild strawberries instead of grass, and it looked beautiful, and you can walk through it even without destroying it.
No, I mean, I'm definitely one of those down with turf grass people. I will die on that hill for certainly, because I mean, it's a non-native Asian grass. It's sod forming, which is not, so most of our native grasses are warm season bunch grasses, so they form clumps, and that is a totally different growth form than turf grasses. That sort of makes this thick root layer right on the surface. It's uniform, nothing can burrow into it. There's no
rhizomal.
Yeah, and so like in a natural native setting where you have these bunch grasses, there's all this, like, some parts of the grass, the ground are exposed, so things can nest in the ground, like bees can nest in the ground, and there's all sorts of micro habitats going on. When you have a turf grass lawn, it's this uniform, exotic, just monoculture that very few things are adapted to eat. The main thing that's eating them is like Japanese beetles, which are invasive. So then people get to know that and they think, insects bad. And I'm like, no, it's not even, they're not even native. And so, there's so many alternatives, to that. A lot of what I've been learning more about in my work that I've started to do here, I work with someone at my university who his whole thing is just converting people's lawns to native meadows. People who have the time and the money who want to do that sort of thing. And it's been such a fascinating process to learn how he does that. My dream one day is to have, if I ever have a house, which is a joke for a millennial kind of, but like
I'm afraid,
someday.
That America does not exist for you.
Yeah. Someday, there's a really great native grass in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, because the two most common grasses in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts are little blue stem and purple lovegrass. And I love purple lovegrass so much. It's very underappreciated, but it's basically the tumbleweed of the Northeast, except the tumbleweed is purple. It's like this magenta color. And once it hits like August, September, it turns whole fields and roadsides and medians into just like this purple fluff. It's like a cloud of purple. And so it's my favorite grass. I'm like, who wouldn't want a lawn that's like purple?
Absolutely.
That's my dream someday.
Yeah. I think as part of your holistic enterprise, which as you get a bit older and want to diversify, you'll probably be taking all of it, because you've just got your master's. You're not going to just rush to do something else, but you'll probably end up at soil. I think soil is the beginning and the end of the story, because while we look after that, everything else kind of works out, provided we don't mess with chemicals.
Yeah, right now, I mean, California especially, the agriculture that's in California, that's the big movement right now, is adding native hedgerows. There's been a lot of work over there with pollinators stuff, just trying to get some native hedgerows put in as refuges for bees and everything. And every little bit counts and everything.
What are you working at? What's your project now? Now you've got the pressures off. Do you get to choose what you do, or are you still given projects?
Well, I did a couple of like odds and ends thing over the summer. I'm still, so they hired me back at the university. They made a position for me as a pollinator ecologist, because they've never had a pollinator ecologist.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm working there full time now, and we're hit the ground running with a lot of projects and stuff. And it's a little overwhelming, because I've got people coming be like, I want you to survey power line rights of way across the entire state, or I want you to help us manage like 10,000 acres of meadows. I'm like, oh my God. But it's I mean, just like you said, I started in end of August, and I've just been absorbing so much information and learning so much stuff in such a short time. It's overwhelming. So much of the management. You so deserve
this, Molly. You so deserve this.
Thank you. I am trying to get my university certified as a bee campus. So that's with the Xerxes Society for Invertebrate Conservation, which does most of the pollinator conservation in the US. And there's like 275 of these across the country. There's more every year. And so basically you take a pledge for your university to plant more native plants, to not use as many pesticides and all that. It's pretty simple and straightforward. But it's just, I was so surprised that our university had not done this yet. Seeing as my university there, SUNY ESF, that college is literally the only thing we do is environmental science. And we already landscape almost entirely native. I'm like, why haven't we done this yet? So that was the first thing. I'm just like, okay, well, let's change this. And so it's been wild. I've been out basically for a couple of months going around all over. I was actually on Martha's Vineyard for a couple of weeks in November, touring some organic farms. And I was over there collecting seeds of all sorts of native plants to grow them, to plant on our campus and everything.
Good. That's so great. So wholesome. Well, just for the sake of reference, for people who are wondering, one of the people I looked at for in the Yahoo thing that gave me a clue about some of this work and what's going on is a woman called, I don't know if her name is Flock, Flock, but it's her channel is like, it says, I just remember the word Flock. And the Fingerling, is it Fingerling Lakes or the Finger Lakes?
Finger Lakes.
Finger Lakes. She's good because she's just beginning. She becomes actually expert as the thing progresses, and it's just not all knowledge in her head. She's got to start doing it, and it's fascinating to see her put that into practice. The knowledge, she's all that theory, because she knows 10 different kinds of wisteria, but doesn't know what to do with them. She just knows them by pictures. It's kind of interesting from that point of view. And she does talk to experts around the country up there. So there's an ancient first growth forest up in upstate New York, which is a really fascinating place to go visit, and it's not very big, but it's been protected by the university up there, which has got ancient trees in it, and they're managing it to keep the deer out, so that saplings get to grow, and you get to see how the actual forest grows and what's going on. And it's a study center. But she also talks to interesting other people. She speaks to really interesting experts. People could say that of me. The people I talk to are much more interesting.
That area of between Cornell and ESF, so like the Syracuse Finger Lakes area of central New York, has so much going on environmentally, because those two universities just hold a huge amount of land in the state, up in the Adirondacks, in the Finger Lakes, and all across. And it's been, living in New York for a few years, the habitat diversity and the amount of rare and unique places that luckily have been preserved I haven't visited a fraction of them yet, but hopefully with my work I'll have a chance. Definitely check out that channel for sure.
Well, have a look. If you I mean, you might go,
I doubt it.
That's fine. Hopefully we get to follow more of your progress. I would love to come back, and we got to wait, I guess, till springtime, when you actually get the hell out of your room. And can start going to places. But hopefully you do a little vlog for us, like not a super big one, but just, hi, I'm here. Bye. Now get on with work. Well,
enjoy your holidays.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Molly. I love that Molly has a favorite kind of grass, and it's that's awesome. All right, we're gonna talk to Kate Tonti.
Hello, Kate.
How are you? Yeah, you pronounced that right.
Did I?
You did. I don't know about you.
Yeah, how are you? I don't think we've ever talked. Have we ever talked and I've forgotten? I can't believe that.
Yeah, we did. Back in the summer though, so that's okay. You have a lot of people to remember.
entirely possible. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Does your mug say needed or indeed? I didn't see it quickly.
Okay, so this is a Stargate reference for anybody who watches Stargate. The character always says indeed.
I recognize that.
Yes. My fiance got this for me for Christmas.
That is
funny
fantastic.
Little thing.
How was your holiday? What's been going on?
It was very quiet, and we got to spend it. My fiance and I got to spend it with my parents, so that was nice. We're trying to keep each other safe. Visiting my parents can get tricky because my mom is super immunocompromised, so we have to be careful.
Right.
So just planning around things.
It's got a bit trickier even more now, because sort of we had a good idea about a year ago of how to kind of dance around this thing. But now it's got a whole lot harder.
And now, exactly. And it's so this whole thing with testing, and I know my friend got sick with it and she didn't test positive for 6 or 7 days later. So how are you supposed to plan, I guess, around that? And it's hard because, I'm in Virginia right now, but my parents live in New Jersey. So we had to kind of quarantine before going to see them. And then when we get there, we can't really go see friends or anything like that, because we have to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, and New
so
Jersey's off the charts, you know.
Oh God, it's always off the charts with everything horrible. But yeah, this is particularly bad. Yeah.
Why is that?
Why is New Jersey always horrible?
Yeah, why is it? Okay. Like, with the first wave, it was New Jersey. Boom! It's like hit New Jersey in the face as it came to land in New York. You know, on the way.
God.
Just what?
You know, I don't know. I think it's our attitude problem. Probably karma. I have the New Jersey, my thing hanging in the back.
That's what that is. I wasn't
native
sure.
Jersey. I saw, I went to a chiropractor a few weeks ago. He was like, oh, where are you from? And I said, oh, you know, from New Jersey. He's like, oh yeah, I have a friend who has a friend from New Jersey. So I know how to deal with those kind of people. And I just, I was like, yeah, I know.
What do you mean? What did he mean? You're all mad.
Well, I just kind of said to him, I was like, oh yeah, I know, we're our own like breed. It's really rough. And he just kind of blushed and went away.
What took you to Virginia? Did we talk about this? What took you to Virginia? Was it your soon-to-be fiance?
No, it was actually my job. So I'm a university professor in English, and yeah, I got
We talked about.
So I got a visiting assistant professor gig down here, but it's a year. It was supposed to be 2 years.
How are you enjoying it?
I love the students here. They're really engaged. It's a women's college. I love the students. I love the opportunities I get to work with them. They're just so engaged all the time and really eager to learn. So that's been fun. And I get to teach different things that I haven't taught before. Usually I was just teaching like composition and stuff. And now I get to next semester, I get to teach science fiction and women. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Wow.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but you know, it'll be fun.
Oh, you should talk to Nana.
Actually, she's gonna. I did. Yeah,
you did. Well done.
I did. She's gonna stop in Zoom and talk to my class after we do a Star Trek / Expanse unit.
Yeah. What a phenomenal! That's astonishing. Yeah. Have you got Apple Plus?
I don't.
There's a trendy show right now called Dickinson, which is
But I did see, I was part of a panel where this person was presenting on Emily Dickinson and how essentially the whole argument was kind of silly, but she would have done really well in a pandemic because she never left the house, but also because part of the presentation was talking about food in relationship to her poetry and just like all the different kind of bread recipes that she would try. So there's like a whole file of all these recipes she left behind for bread. And so that kind of was the person's presentation. But we were talking about how she would have thrived right now.
Absolutely. Can I ask what your fiance does? What have you had?
He works for a big nonprofit. He works for Teacher America actually, and he does a lot of their essentially their kind of fundraising mostly, but he does like developmental stuff. So he does like just trying to put together like events and things like that and making sure that kind of stuff happens. But he's like he does fundraising mostly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's like the most important job.
He's really good at it too. It's amazing. I wouldn't be able to get people to give me money. But he does a good job at it.
The audacity to ask is really good.
I know. He does a really good job at it. So
excuse me, can I take 5? It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry if you can't do it. I know.
It becomes like a formula at some point. But so yeah, that's what he does. But otherwise we've just been getting ready for college basketball season here.
That's the thing, is it? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. That's his thing. Great.
Yeah.
College basketball all day.
Okay, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, that's only because I like cricket, which is even more, arcane.
I like have no idea about any of that.
Exactly. But I did watch the Clippers play the Lakers once when I was in Los Angeles, which was the two rivals apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I went to the game and I had some pretty good seats and I just watched the ball from there to there. And the most exciting thing that happened was someone not missing. Someone just missing the net. And it's like, oh God, it didn't get a goal. Right, back to that side, goal. Back to that side, goal. Back to that side. Didn't get a goal. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So it's the kind of celebrating failure is really where it kind of gets exciting because it's so seemingly easy for these athletes to just put the ball in the net pretty much from wherever they want, anytime they please. I think they should expand the court by 500 yards and see how they do. Well, cricket is not fast.
No.
You can actually measure the growth rate of grass as you play a game of cricket. You have time. I think baseball is. I went to a baseball game too. I had to take the boys to see the Dodgers. I really was excited about the thing that they call the Dodger dog, but I learned later that pretty much every baseball team is proud of its hot dog. So it's just another way of selling the hot dog.
Yeah,
but it's
definitely
quite a big dog. But yes, it was incredibly boring.
Okay.
There was a lot of sitting around while inane songs were playing through the loudspeakers, like children's nursery rhymes or something. They sounded like to me. But that is not brutal, competitive, high octane sport. It's like, okay, but the kids love it.
There's always like something, you know, crazy going on besides the baseball itself. There's always like other entertaining parts of that. So yeah.
What have you been watching if you've had any time at all to do that?
Oh yeah, no, I've been watching too much TV because I don't start teaching till tomorrow actually. So let's see. We've been watching Stargate, which is so nerdy, but I think that's accepted here.
Got that. You're good. You're in safe hands. You're among family.
We finished we've just finished Sex Education. I guess that's the 3rd season of that.
My good friend's in that. Al Petrie. He's the tall, red-headed headmaster.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, he and I went to school together. We're really close.
Oh yeah, he does well. His character does better this season. Yeah. And then The Witcher too came back, so we've been doing that.
I quite enjoyed The Witcher. Yeah. I watched the 1st season. I didn't massively like him, the dude, The Witcher. But I warmed to him as the season went. I watched the 1st season, but while I was away in Australia, I just found him kind of a bit monochromatic.
That's exactly it. I think he starts to show. I think in this season he starts to show more like empathy and feeling and desire for anything other than just killing the monsters. So yeah. It'll. I think it's been improving.
I liked it though. I liked the actual story. Yeah. It's better than there was a couple of others that I didn't really like. There was one with this English star, which is quite new on Amazon. She's a witch, and there's a group of people, and she's got to take them to the White Tower, and it's a bit like
the Wheel of Time.
The Wheel of Time.
You don't like the Wheel of Time?
No, I don't.
Oh no, that's very bad.
Is it very good? Am I missing something?
It's not good that you don't like it among this crowd.
Yeah, I just found it. There are real holes in the plot. It's like, wait a minute. I work harder at it. I just didn't buy it first time round. I was like, no, it doesn't work. They go to a city in the middle of an abandoned city. This is an example.
Oh yeah, I saw the episode.
Yeah, they go to an abandoned city and they get split up.
Yeah.
And they don't just get split up locally. They get split up like they're 600 miles apart by the time they leave the city. They cannot feasibly find each other. They've all gone in different directions to different continents. And I'm pulling my hair out. I was like, why don't you just walk to the left? Have a look at the forest around the corner. Your friends might be there. You don't have to go across this desert to find your friends because you left them 300 yards ago. Anyway, infuriating.
That's a really good point.
I'll work on it. It's on my B list. It's not on
my list. I agree. Yes. Once I'm through with other things, then I'll go back. Take a look.
It's really lovely talking to you, Katie, and Kate, and I'm looking forward to the next time. And maybe I'll remember.
Absolutely. Yeah, stay safe. All right.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you ranting about Wheel of Time is priceless.
I did. Yeah.
Love it.
I didn't buy it.
Okay, we're gonna go talk to Rose.
Hey, can you hear
me? Rose, yes, I can hear you loud.
Okay, good, because I'm using different headphones this time. Because my old
the headphones
ones
are working.
Okay, good.
They're pink.
Yeah, they are pink.
Yeah.
Pink.
Oh, Shana likes that. It's a particular kind of pink. You get the pink wrong and you're in a lot of trouble. Isn't that, are you the same? You can't just
it's like
pink.
pale pink. I think like somewhere between pale pink and I mean obviously I like rose.
There you go. Of course, I just put 2 and 2 together.
I'm doing pretty great. I'm with my parents in Baltimore again until the end of next week when I go back to Austin for what is going to hopefully be my last semester of graduate school. But yeah, I'm hoping to get my PhD in May if I can just finish my dissertation in time.
Which you will do without any trouble at all. I know you well enough even by this time to know that's going to happen. How's it, have you been bouncing back and forth between Austin?
Yeah, I was back in Austin in September, and then I came back. I wasn't teaching or taking any classes, so I was able to leave a little bit before the semester ended. So I came for Thanksgiving, and then I just stayed here, and through the holidays and everything.
How's your mom?
Oh, she's doing great. She's going back. So she's a high school teacher. She's going back to school in a couple of days. She's a bit nervous because of Omicron, which I'm also nervous about because I am teaching this semester.
Right.
I'm actually teaching a class about the Beatles, so I'm very excited for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's astonishing. That's not your normal wheelhouse.
Yeah, although also it kind of is because I've been obsessed with the Beatles since I was like 11 years old, and so they were kind of my intro to wanting to study music. I mean, I'd already played cello for like a year at that point, but
have you been watching the new documentary, Let It Be, is it called?
Get Back. I still need to. I've been wanting to watch with my parents, but like I know I'm gonna have to watch before the semester starts because I'm sure
you
my
will.
students will
And
ask
the problem
about
is it's really long. It's like 6 hours, so you've got to get going. It's fascinating, by the way. I watched it with my son. I spent some time in Los Angeles on the way here. It's fascinating. It's not messed with, as far as I can tell. I mean, it's been edited, but it's not using any modern footage at all. It's just source material.
Yeah, so I'm really, because I've never, the one like Beatles movie from the 60s I've never seen is Let It Be, because I don't think that's ever been released on DVD or anything. Whereas like I have the Criterion Collection version of Hard Day's Night. I've seen Help. I've seen Magical Mystery Tour. And I've seen Yellow Submarine a gazillion times because I'm an animation person and a Beatle maniac. Yeah. So of course
they've got the two arrive in one thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, one of the fascinating insights, I don't think it's a spoiler, Yoko Ono, who my whole life has been vilified, I've grown up thinking she is the Wicked Queen Witch of the West, you know, the arch sorceress who destroyed modern civilization by dismantling the Beatles. She comes across as just the most adorable and lovely person.
Yeah, well, I was happy to hear you say that last time to Ariel because I am a big fan of Yoko Ono, actually. One of the things I feel like people don't always understand about her is like a lot of people act like, you know, she was just a visual artist and she got into the music through John Lennon, but she was actually a music composition student at Sarah Lawrence in like the early 60s. And she was part of that whole avant-garde music scene in New York that like the Velvet Underground also came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you can kind of hear like some like commonalities between like some of her stuff like on her Plastic Ono Band album and like some of the weirder stuff that like the Velvet Underground did, like John Cale's stuff. Yeah. Because he was involved in all that. Like you can kind of hear some commonalities. So that's always I've always like, I'm sure I'm going to be like this with my students too. I have to give the Yoko Ono apologetic spiel.
No, it's fantastic. I think this documentary finally puts it to rest. But also, John, I do believe, unless I'm misquoting something, that Paul McCartney confirmed that it was in fact George Harrison that broke up the Beatles, and he did it because he wanted a solo career. He was really frustrated that his songs weren't being sung or played by the Beatles. So he was like, "Screw it, I'm out."
Which I kind of understand it. I mean, he did make the best Beatles solo album, in my opinion. Like All Things Must Pass.
He made some great. He was terrific. He was terrific. But who knows if he'd been still as terrific if he'd had to be as prolific as John Lennon or Paul McCartney. And Paul McCartney comes across as a real music theorist in this documentary. It's crazy. Yeah. For someone who didn't know.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, I'm with you. I I think the Beatles are just phenomenal. They go in and out of fashion because they're kind of soft, you know.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones are much more fashionable because they're more Nirvana. You know.
I mean, they were pals with the Beatles, and you could tell that they kind of took ideas from each other sometimes. Like, but they usually weren't as good. And I think the Rolling Stones got better when they sort of tried to do their own thing, starting in the late 60s.
I can name drop. I went to a party which was at the Opera House in London. This was a few years ago now. And I was talking to everybody, and all these young ballerinas running around everywhere. And there was this one guy who really fascinated me. It was this kid who said he was a musician. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was really into music at that time and fascinated by a lot of classical music. And so I got into talking to him, and I was like, wow, you're really cool. You're amazing. Well, you know, you work hard, you will do really well. Turned out he was George Harrison's son. Had been playing with the Traveling Wilburys already. Was doing just fine, thank you very much, without my condescending patronage. So yeah, that's my name drop story.
That's so cool.
Oh, Rose.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. Assuming you come across a group of people who have really never been introduced to music, let's say classical music, let's make it a bit easier, because rock changes every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And classic every couple of 100 years. What would you recommend to listen to? Maybe one or two people here would like to get involved in that world.
Oh, that's quite difficult.
I know it's
so
tough
much
because you don't know them. Sometimes knowing them really helps. But they're relatively easy things. For example, like Berg Violin Concerto. We mentioned that tonight.
Yeah.
That's a kind of good entry level way of getting involved in something. Or if you like kind of if you have a very mathematical mind, maybe some Bach.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would ask them first, like, what are you looking for in music? This is also, I also get the question a lot of like, I've never watched anime. What anime would you recommend? So I'm like, okay, what TV shows do you watch? Because then I can go from there. Let's
assume for the sake of argument, because it's actually a safe bet, is that they're might be interested in approaching classical music because they want something softer. They don't want something big. So it's not going to be the voice.
Wagner.
It's not going to be the Wagner. What would you recommend in terms of, like, I guess people say Moonlight Sonata or something like that from Mozart?
Yeah. I might recommend like Schubert's Lieder, I think.
Someone just put Vivaldi in the chat. I just noticed.
Yeah,
that.
Vivaldi. Really... My parents got a new kitten, so that's been a big part of our. Yeah, he likes to attack the Christmas tree and wail late at night. I know you're not a cat person, but
no, you know what? I let live. Let live and let live. They do eat your face off if you fall asleep in front of them, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
I've had that I've had them attempt to do that to me.
Of course.
Yeah, my sister's cat sleeps on her friends' faces when they stay over at her.
Fait accompli. Yeah, need I say more? Quaderatum demonstratus. Exactly. I'm going to talk to someone else.
Okay.
But I know someone's birthday is coming up, and I've got to say hi. Otherwise, I'll just lock out the only birth. Thanks, Rose.
Thanks,
Good
Rose.
to talk to you.
We have 2 birthdays actually. I had a late
arrival.
Bit of information there. So our first one is Jen.
Hi.
Jen, hello.
Hi. We just spoke in November, so I'm going to keep
this
short.
Yeah, we'll keep it short. How are your snakes coming along?
They're good. We fed them and they're happy.
They're good for another 6 months.
Not quite 6 months, but yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming snakes. I always have a picture of those sort of cartoons from back in the day of when you see a snake and it's got like an elephant shape inside it, and people are like, "Where did the elephant go?" And the snake's eating everything all in one go at the same time. It doesn't have to eat again for months and months and months and months. It's good to see you. When is your birthday?
A week from today.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's still a little bit out, but it's too early.
No, it's not in our new timetable. That's well within our realms of happy birthdayiness. Can we all wish you a happy birthday, please, Jen? Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Okay.
How are you? How's your partner?
He's good. He's on YouTube right now.
Okay. What's he up to?
I don't know.
I bet he's looking at no-till agriculture. God damn it.
I bet he is.
I bet he is.
Since we did talk in November, I want the other person to have time to talk to you. So I'm going to say bye, but it was lovely chatting with you for a minute.
Thank you, Jen.
And,
Yeah, let's chat longer next time. All right.
Okay.
Happy
Thanks,
birthday.
Sid. Thank you. Thanks, Mel.
Happy birthday. All right. And our next birthday person needs a little pick-me-up.
Oh, no.
Helen has
Hello.
the big 4-0.
Yeah.
Helen,
40.
what's up?
Well, yeah, I turned 40 and it was a not quite a lockdown, but things have gone in Australia with COVID.
It's devastating. I heard there's someone just is that a chicken?
Yes, that is a chicken.
That
Sorry.
is so surprising.
My kid brought her in, so I thought she had to sit with me.
Too adorable. I was like, is she scratching her cat's behind? And then I couldn't figure out which way this was. And then I saw the head.
No, this is my elderly chicken Rachel. So she's partially blind and lives by herself mostly.
Is she very social?
She used to be, but unfortunately now because she's blind, she can't see where all the other chickens are.
So
we've had to separate her. So she lives on the back doorstep. And
great company for you.
Oh, definitely. She comes inside. The cats don't mind.
What city are you in, Helen?
Adelaide, South Australia.
Hello. You've come to say hello.
You want to say hello, Joshua? No, they just want to talk to the chicken.
It's much more important to talk to the chicken. Always talk to the chicken first and then everyone else.
Oh, definitely. The chicken was eating me.
When is your birthday, Helen?
My birthday was on the 30th of December. So it's already passed. I've already hit that milestone.
Can you join us, Joshua, in wishing your mum a happy birthday again? You ready to say happy birthday to your mum? Can we all help Joshua say happy birthday to Helen?
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
How was your family? Obviously, your kids are in fine fettle.
Yeah, the kids are going fine, and my wife's still working from home.
Yeah.
Has been for the last 2 years.
What's the name of your hen, Joshua?
What's her name? Rachel.
Rachel. And I hear she doesn't see very well, so you've got to be really gentle with her. Is that right?
Yeah, Rachel actually is blind in one eye.
That's right. She's blind in one eye, so she can't. Which is tough for chickens because they've got eyes on either side of their head, so that's half of the world she can't see. Are you looking forward to going to school, Joshua?
Yeah, and I can't go right now.
No. Why?
Started.
You haven't started. It's holidays.
You haven't started, exactly. Well, have fun when you do go.
Not for another month.
Did I ask you, Helen, last time we talked, did I ask you about what you did for a living? I wasn't sure if I can, I don't know if I mentioned it or if I because we might talk about all sorts of other things.
Parenting, at home with the kids, looking after them.
Absolutely. And chickens.
And chickens, yeah. Oh, all sorts of things. Chickens and cats and garden and everything.
What sort of weather do you have in Adelaide?
South Australia is actually the driest state in Australia. So lots of desert lands.
So that really limits the kind of things you can grow.
40.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. Yes and no. I mean, where I am, we're up closer towards the hills area of Adelaide, so it's a bit cooler. We get a bit more rain, but yeah, it is still fairly dry. Very Mediterranean, I've been told. Okay.
Well, I love meeting Joshua. It's been a real pleasure to meet you, Joshua. I hope you have an amazingly good time when you go back to school. Absolutely.
And we have created lots of classes.
Good.
We've been doing holiday crafts.
Fantastic.
I want to turn this place into a class of fun house.
Can you, Joshua, can you show me anything you've made recently? Have you got anything close by you can quickly show me?
Okay.
Okay, run.
Let me go get it.
I think it's fantastic you even have a chicken on your lap inside. It's such an odd thing to spot. So I love it. I really did think you were scratching the bum of a cat.
Yeah, well, here's the plasters we made.
Oh, Joshua, they're amazing. There's a train and a butterfly. That's fantastic.
Butterfly and a train.
Brilliant.
And basically, the butterfly is taller than the train.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It is, which is quite remarkable. It's quite remarkable. That's very unusual. Are you going to paint them?
Yeah, the plasters.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Job done. Questions answered. Inquisition over.
No, Mummy, I'll keep them flat.
Okay.
All right, Mummy.
We're going to paint them afterwards. They've been bugging me all day.
Well, it has been lovely catching up with you, Helen.
Thank you.
You've got that
it's only mid-afternoon
young lion behind you with a
touch the cuckoo clock
and a totally surreal picture of a chicken. Just to turn everything surreal.
Yeah.
Lovely catching up with you.
We do things strange in Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen and Joshua. This is going to be one of the best highlight videos we've ever had. The cuckoo clock, I feel, was the real like crown.
Oh yeah, the cuckoo clock, just to top it all off.
Oh, okay, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again. Happy New Year.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing all your brilliant stories.
Happy New Year.